Dear fellow citizens of the United Kingdom, we need to reclaim our democracy so it serves all of our people, not just the rich and corporations. Our economy is dominated by destructive and unjust rules. Corruption, tax dodging, inequality and urgent issues like climate change aren't being addressed because our democracy is failing. I'll be explaining how we can rise up together in a mass civil disobedience calling for significant change. This tax disobedience is designed so that everyone can join in. Tax is at the heart of our democracy and civil disobedience is crucial at this time. The Golden Rule Tax Disobedience is a peaceful act of mass civil disobedience across the UK. We will begin when at least 5,000 of you pledge to join in. The pledge says, with our broken democracy incapable of addressing society's multiple crises, I pledge, alongside 5,000 UK citizens, to undertake collective tax disobedience. Taxation underpins democracy. It is our mutual investment in society, yet the collection and spending of tax are rigged to suit unaccountable corporations and the wealthy. We want a genuine democracy that provides urgent, fitting responses to the escalating crises in our environment, well-being and economy. Participants can join in either of two ways. Firstly, you can ensure you don't pay VAT in a restaurant or café. This is easy, less risky and doesn't harm the café. Everybody pays tax in the form of VAT, so everybody can join in with this one, and we'll explain the details in the link. Or you can refuse to pay £50 of a tax bill. This is for those who do tax returns and are willing to risk fines. The most important thing in this protest is that we the citizens embrace our spirit of disobedience. For some of us who do tax returns, we will refuse to pay £50 of the amount that we owe. If you don't do a tax return, don't worry, you can join this protest. Cafes that specialise in takeaways have two prices for cold food. If you ask for a takeaway but eat the food inside, you will have deprived government of a small amount of tax, which is a symbolic action. You can see how much on the board prices. So this cake should have cost £1.20, but I only paid £1. I'll be sending my 20p and a donation to organisations like Disabled People Against the Cuts or our NHS. Check with independent cafes whether they have a VAT button on the till. Some do and some don't. Good luck folks who are vegan or gluten-free, this is possible. Don't involve the cafe. If they spot you, explain the protest. The protest doesn't actually affect the cafe or its income. They could ask you to leave, but many cafes feel angry about VAT and tax dodging and may look the other way. Enjoy yourself, good luck with it, this is just the start. We will provide messages for government and for social media as part of the protest. Money withheld should be given away to pay for grassroots campaigns, investigative journalism or whistleblower support, or maybe in a small independent cafe you might like to put the money in the tips jar. If you have personally suffered due to benefits cuts and choose to keep the tax, we think that's morally justified. Legal information is given in the link, and lawyers have advised that there is nothing illegal in pledging to do this. When we begin the action, we will share emails and letters that can be sent to central government during the disobedience. At the heart of this protest is a complaint that our democracy is failing us. A functioning democracy requires a fair and transparent political system, a genuine sense of representation and access to accurate information. However, many politicians serve vested financial interests. Party funding is unfair and getting worse. The first past the post system means few votes count. And the Tories actually cheated in the last election by breaking spending limits. Lobbying by corporations is barely regulated, yet trade unions and civil society are hampered by excessive regulation. Our media is dominated by extremist billionaires and a right-wing BBC. Think tanks, academia and civil society are being used against the public interest. Tax havens bend rules and hide deals and political donations from powerful financial interests. And proposed changes to our failing democracy would further rig the system. This broken democracy and the rigged rules of our economy are designed to serve the superficial interests of the 1%, though in reality no one is truly served. Our economy is dangerously unstable. We have a growth in corruption and debt. Inequality has become extreme. Public services like the NHS are being downgraded and sold off. The welfare system is being eroded. Disabled people have been under attack. Women are bearing the brunt of the cuts and scapegoating is rife. Life on Earth is threatened by climate change and environmental degradation. We've entered a state of almost constant war, but this can all change, and I really believe it can. The Golden Rule Tax Disobedience is an uprising of people who care about democracy and justice. We want our environment protected. We want a shared peace, prosperity and fairness today and for future generations. History shows time and again that change only happens when people unite in collective acts of defiance. Specifically, we're calling for laws and policies to restore and strengthen our democracy, reforming UK media, voting, party funding and lobbying, holding a constitutional convention, tackling tax dodging, tax havens and the finance curse, protecting life on Earth, zero carbon Britain and supporting an international law of ecocide. Broadening prosperity, investment in green jobs and affordable housing, a citizen's basic income and land value taxation. Protect our NHS with the NHS reinstatement bill and strengthen peace and security, preventing activities that fuel war. We have marched, we've boycotted, we've signed petitions, we've shared information, we've written to our MPs, and this all helped raise awareness, but it's not sufficient. History shows that change happens when people unite in collective acts of defiance. Big changes have come when between 1% and 3% of a population rise up. That's less than 2 million UK citizens. The Golden Rule Tax Disobedience is a peaceful act of mass civil disobedience. Help seed that change by being the first 5,000 pledging to act. Tax rebellion can be a legitimate form of civil disobedience. It has formed part of many struggles in the past, like the Boston Tea Party in American independence, Gandhi's salt marches, the suffragettes' no vote, no tax, the Peasants' Revolt and Poll Tax Rebellion of 1381, and the poll tax protests leading to the downfall of Prime Minister Mrs Thatcher. Principled tax disobedience is a criticism of a failing democracy because tax is a key symbol of the social contract between the state and its citizens. A just tax system is our mutual contribution to a functioning society, an investment that we make for future generations. Used well, tax can help redistribute wealth to prevent huge inequality. Tax on goods which harm and pollute can minimise their impact, and tax spent wisely can ensure we all have our basic needs met. Tax can fund the things we need collectively like health services, and we can spend tax money on urgent problems like climate change. Tax could and should be a great thing. But our democracy is broken, and a clear sign of its brokenness is the injustice of tax in the UK, both how tax is collected and how it's spent. The collection of tax is unjust. Tax dodging by rich people and multinationals makes people rightly angry, especially as cuts to public services have been justified by a lack of money. Tax Research UK estimate that an additional 123 billion of taxes could be collected annually. There's been no serious attempt to tackle tax dodging and tax havens because many politicians are benefiting themselves. Half of the world's tax havens are UK Crown dependencies or overseas territories. Tax dodging puts pressure on the ordinary taxpayer to pay more. Tax havens spread corruption. Poor people pay a greater percentage of their income in tax than the rich, yet many people believe that they don't pay tax and you do. Value-added tax is added to the goods and services that people need to buy. It was increased from 15% to 20% in recent years, and this hike hits women and poor people the hardest. On the other hand, corporation tax has been lowered from 28% to 20%, and a 10% rate is now available. The top rate of tax for the rich has fallen from 50 to 45%. The spending of tax is also unjust. £93 billion is given out annually as handouts to businesses operating in this so-called free market. This corporate welfare is never officially counted, that's the university figure, or is it explained? And 93 billion is more than the 85 billion spent on welfare benefits. Government claims it doesn't want to intervene in markets, yet the banks have an actual and implied subsidy of up to 1.2 trillion, far less than they pay in taxes, and yet no subsidy for the steel industry, for example. UK government spends 26 billion subsidising harmful fossil fuels and only 3.5 billion subsidising renewable technologies. The market is rigged. Principled non-payment of tax is justified and similar to strike actions by public sector workers. People can love their jobs and believe deeply in the social value of their work and nevertheless be prepared to strike for reasons of justice and fairness. I very much believe in tax justice. I believe in the payment of tax. Tax disobedience is done as a protest with full disclosure to authorities. Those participating are willing to take personal risks to make their point known. Tax dodging is totally different. It's about skirting around the law for personal gain, hoping not to get caught. Tax disobedience and tax dodging couldn't be more different. This tax disobedience is not intended to significantly damage the public purse. If 20,000 people participate and withhold an average of £25 each, that would be £500,000 diverted to grassroots campaigns. A 6-hour bombing mission to Syria has cost more than that. The original Golden Rule, present in many moral codes and religious teachings, is that we should treat each other as we would wish to be treated, because we're all interconnected. This principle should inform our democracy. The current Golden Rule, however, is corrupted. The Golden Rule now means that those with the gold make the rules. Our power lies in acting together to change the rules. Please sign and share this pledge for a mass tax disobedience.